Well, Rabobank's latest Chinese protein report highlights the ongoing impact of African swine fever consumption and how it is also prompting some major shifts in distribution and purchasing behaviours to beef options. So it's actually looking good for New Zealand beef exports. Consumers are increasingly starting to combine beef into their home consumption when it used to be largely consumed whilst eating out. This is replacing pork and opening new opportunities for beef market growth. Even with the gradual increase in red meat consumption, a 20% drop in pork supplies reported last year and a further 20% drop forecast this year, the world's largest pork consumers are pivoting to alternative protein sources. Joining us now to discuss this is the report's author, Rabobank's Blake Holgate. Evening, Blake.
Evening, Sarah.
Now I know, Soren, before we get stuck into pork, you're in Dunedin. How's the weather?
It's crisp and chilly, but as of now, no snow on the ground, which is an improvement from about 12 hours ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been nippy as, and no one likes to be in Dunedin on a cold day. I certainly know that from experience. Hey, let's talk about this. A significant drop, 20% in pork supplies. That is considerable. Talk us through how this demand for beef has continued on from China.
Yeah, you're right, Sarah. 20% when you talk about the size of a country like China is significant, and New Zealand knows as beef exporters we've really benefited over the last 12 months. We've seen a major jump in our exports into China over that time period, and what that has done is it has exposed a lot of Chinese consumers to beef that previously wouldn't have eaten beef. So previously beef was significantly more expensive than pork. With pork being in short supply, that's driven up their domestic pork prices, got them pretty close to where beef prices are, and they thought, heck, well, let's try some beef. They're trying it, it's exposing them to it, and we think that is a trend that will stick beyond this sort of shorter term African swine fever impact.
Education-wise, in terms of e-commerce and retail, with the effect of COVID, you say that they have been exposed and consume beef normally in restaurants. How has the New Zealand processors been able to capitalise on this in terms of sharing the benefits of pork from a protein perspective and benefit from the sort of aspirational eating that is within a restaurant?
Yeah, a couple of key points. You alluded to it there. With COVID, with the lockdown, it has forced a lot of Chinese consumers to cook and eat at home, and beef traditionally has been an eat-out protein. So with some of the established e-commerce or online platforms, that has enabled our exporters to get products to consumers in their homes. But some of the other, I think, really important longer term trends we're starting to see with Chinese consumers is increased segmentation of their consumption patterns. So historically, it's been what we'd consider sort of largely a mass market, so hard to differentiate yourself within that market. As they become wealthier, we are seeing the development of a sort of a premiumization segment, and they're the consumers that are increasingly looking for and willing to pay for higher quality beef, and beef for some of those sort of taste attributes like our sustainability, high levels of animal welfare and ethical production. So it really feeds in well to that.
I was really hoping you were going to say that because, of course, in your title is the word sustainability. And last night we had Stephanie Honey from Beef and Lamb and we had Damien O'Connor on, and that was very big about we need to be doing this for market access because the rest of the world is looking for opportunities to shut us out because we're so fantastic at environmental, so great at animal welfare. Yet, when it comes to our Chinese markets and the development of the understanding and care for these things, they're not really there yet. So how do we define that added value when we want to be in that position and not in the commodity space when it comes to the China market?
You're right. For China, it's not so much a market access story at this stage. It's more around how we can differentiate ourselves from some of those lower cost producers like South America, for example, where we're seeing a lot of competition. And the ability to do that is one, developing the brand, but actually underpinning that with, the verifiable evidence of what we're talking around. So traceability, having data points to actually demonstrate to the market that, and backing up our claims, is going to become increasingly important going forward, because there's a significantly more transparency in the supply chain than there has been historically, and Chinese consumers are very aware of that.
It makes for a natural segue to the next part that is in Farmers Weekly. This is the confidence survey that Rabobank put out. This is falling to negative 32% net farmer confidence. And this is off the back of fantastic things that you've just said, that we have all the opportunity at our fingertips and our feet, but government policy and COVID-19 has seen this dramatic change of confidence. What is really driving it at the bottom line? Is it misunderstanding of where this is going and in terms of where it could land as our opportunity?
Yeah, look, I mean, negative farmer sentiment is something that's shown up in our rural confidence surveys for probably a good 18 months to 2 years now. I think it's that trade-off between a lot of the topics we're talking about are kind of longer-term opportunities. When we're looking 4 to 5 years out, we have the opportunity to position ourselves really well. The reality is farmers are dealing with some of the challenges here and now. They are going through significant changes in the regulatory space at a number of levels, from fresh water to climate change to biodiversity to high country crown leases, and that's sort of all culminating at the one point. And then on top of that, we have some of the pressures COVID has brought onto the industry domestically, the pressure that's put on pricing for different sectors, and as I look forward to pricing for this year, perhaps not as optimistic as they have been over the last 12 months. So I think it's that disconnect between, yes, there's some fundamental long-term opportunities for the industry, but as I said, farmers have to deal with the here and now, and they're looking 12 months out, and they're sort of seeing a number of challenges. They're sort of just wondering how they're going to work their way through.
Certainly is a hard place to navigate with so much uncertainty and to try and stay optimistic. Dairy, on the other hand, though, has had a lot of signals for optimism. Their spirits must be higher.
Yeah, look, in the latest survey, we did see a slight improvement in confidence from both the horticultural and dairy sector. Remembering some of the price signals 3 months ago when we last did the series, the confidence survey for dairy probably wasn't as strong as it is now, and it was really the sheep and beef farmers that confidence has taken a hit. And again, I think they're probably looking at what their farm gate prices have done over the last couple of months, and have been very flat at a time in the year we'd expect to be increasing with reduced supplies, and are looking forward to when the new season lambs come online, and have probably concerns around where those prices will go.
Just before you sneak off, Blake, I'm not going to let you get off the hook. We're talking about vegetables or even anything that you haven't been able to stomach since you were a kid. You've tried, but you still can't. What is it?
Look, I might flip it around sort of the slightly differently and say how much I enjoy vegetables now, and discovering there's other ways to cook them other than just steaming them in a pot. I was sort of brought up like probably a lot of other New Zealand, particularly farm kids, where veggies were brought in a packet and steamed in a pot. I've discovered there's a whole range of fantastic ways to cook veggies, and they can actually be really, really delicious. So that would be my take.
Absolutely. Boiled to buggery. And we didn't have anything called herbs and spices. It was just salt and pepper. Oh, we're so hard done by, aren't we? Oh, my goodness. Hey, thank you so much, Blake Holgate, there from Rabobank. And, of course, you can read more about both the confidence survey and, of course, the report there on beef eating into pork's lead. This is Sarah's Country.